Apparently there's this one old, weird book that has helped millions of people quit the most seductive habits without needing any willpower by just using logic to outsmart the bad habit.
And I read a book and then I was done.
What was the book?
The Easy Way to Stop Drinking by Alan Carr.
What's the easy way?
Easy way is you read this book and then you're done. So many people have read it. It's the one book that when you've tried everything else, nothing else works. My mom quit smoking after 35 plus years.
Really?
So many of my friends.
2 years ago, I read that book. 2 years ago was my last drink. Amazing how much my life has changed for the better. Read the book and now I'm 9 months sober. This book helped me stop drinking almost 4 years now. That's weird. It took me one drink to stop reading books. Also inspiring, I guess, just different. And here's the thing. We can use this method for any bad habit, and we all have that one thing that we struggle to kick, right? Whether it's scrolling on our phones, sugar cravings, excessive worrying, staying up late at night, which is mine, because I get excited thinking about the Roman Empire. So what's so effective about the easy way method?
I read the book and you can smoke while you read it. He goes, go, have a cigarette. And you're just like, no, I don't want to.
So one part of it that makes it so powerful is what I'm just going to coin the McNugget effect. Because think about as kids, we loved chicken McNuggets. Maybe we still do. But the point is, you love them until you see how they're made.
Do you want to learn a lesson that's going to change your life?
Yeah.
Once you see how they're made, you're disgusted. And you don't need willpower anymore to stop eating them. We've all heard of stories from an old man who went to the doctor and then got a diagnosis. And the doctor said, hey, if you don't stop smoking, then it's going to be over the next 12 months. You're not going to see your grandkids grow up. And that's when they quit cold turkey. There's no willpower required, right? Or you've had that one type of drink or food that you loved, and by the end of the night, it came shooting back out of you, sometimes from both ends. And since then, I can't really look at shrimp tacos anymore. And you just need that, that's it, I've had enough moment. And the key is, if you're struggling with quitting something and you still need willpower, then you just haven't found that one thing yet that makes you disgusted by it. And it also works for committing to a habit. For example, I've never been good with using sunscreen, especially on my face, because I hate putting greasy stuff on my face, until I saw this one picture. A delivery truck driver's face after 28 years of sun exposure through the window. And it's only on his left side because that's where the window was. This guy literally looks like he got a facelift for 50% off. I don't want that. And since then, I pretty much put on sunscreen on my face every day. And think about it. This is how big pharma companies get you to use their products like toothpaste. These visual, visceral images. See, what is that? I don't want radioactive glow-at-night maggots between my teeth, but there's still some left and they're still wiggling. And So the McNugget effect can pretty much do the heavy lifting for you to quit anything. It could be a visit at the doctor, it could be seeing a shocking image, or just learning something that makes you go, okay, no. It works time and time again. However,
Now, who would still eat this?
but to be fair, isn't this exactly what we're doing as well? Everybody knows that smoking and drinking is terrible for you. We know that staying too late is not good for us. Eating sugar, doom scrolling on Instagram is going to make us miserable. And we still go, should be fine. There's a ton of people who get a terrible diagnosis from the doctor and they still don't quit. The chicken nugget industry, well, $2 billion in sales last year in the US, despite all of Jamie Oliver's efforts. Because we still find a way to rationalize it. I know smoking's bad, but there was a woman in France who was the oldest person ever at 122 years old, and apparently she smoked. Or, you know what, everyone else eats chicken nuggets, so it's fine. Why can't I have a little fun and, doom scroll late at night and stay up longer? Like, what's wrong with that? Everybody does it. And now this is where the true magic of Alan Carr's book comes in. His easy way method.
His method is, and this is this thing he does with drinking, any excuse you have to do that thing, he talks you out of it. He tells you a reason why your excuse is actually bullshit.
See, when we do anything, we always need to have a reason for why we do it, and we come up with all sorts of stories to make it make sense. Even the most destructive behaviors, we draw some sort of benefit from it, or even if it's just a perceived benefit. With alcohol, it makes me relax, makes me fun, makes me be social. With cigarettes, it helps me deal with stress. Scrolling on Instagram is about, I'm just staying up to date with my friends. And chicken McNuggets, well, I gotta eat something, my body needs food. And he just dismantles all the possible excuses or perceived benefits that you might have and convinces you of the opposite until you have no more reasons left. You're backed into a corner and there's so much cognitive dissonance that quitting is the only logical option. And it's like he's hunting for that McNugget effect in you. The one thing that you believe that if you changed it or if you realized the truth about it, you'd quit. So as an example, the most common fear about quitting a habit is that you're giving something up, right? So if I'm quitting smoking, I'll be stressed or not social. Or with Instagram doom scrolling, well, I'm going to miss out on what's going on with my friends. Or with a cheat meal, well, isn't that what living is, just having a cheat meal? In general, it's this fear of life being worse without the substance or the habit, right? And for smoking, he counters that by just saying, hey, instead of giving something up, you're escaping a trap. Because life before smoking was way better, and you're only stressed now because you're craving a cigarette to stop the stress. The stress wasn't there before. And he says it's like wearing tight shoes just for the pleasure of taking them off. And you go, well, if you put it that way, it sounds kind of dumb what I'm doing here. And he goes into every possible excuse. Why do you smoke? Oh, well, I need something to do with my hands. Well, could you just try a pen? Oh, yeah, I just like the feeling of having something to nip on. Okay, what about a toothpick or chew gum? Yeah, but I just like it for being social. Well, don't you have to step outside of social venues to smoke? And smokers stink? And don't you usually smoke by yourself? Oh yeah, but I like the taste. But weren't the first few cigarettes disgusting and you had to keep going to like it? And now you're really just numb to the flavor of it? And in the book itself, he literally goes, go, light one up now. Take 6 deep drags and ask yourself, what is that you're actually enjoying? Isn't it true that it's not so much that you enjoy inhaling obnoxious fumes into your lungs, but that you can't enjoy social occasions or cope with stress without them? And apparently, companies know this.
And we've been brainwashed by tobacco and alcohol industries to believe that quitting is really hard. And quitting alcohol is hard if you have an addiction. You can die from it, obviously. But with tobacco, it's part of their propaganda to tell you that it's hard to quit smoking. They're the ones pushing that message, which seems like, why would they tell people it's hard? But they're doing that because if it's hard, you won't quit. So that has been their message, to be like, it's so hard to quit smoking. It's so hard. When really, it's not.
It's not?
No.
This blew my mind. I've never smoked. I've always assumed that it's extremely difficult to quit. But this is coming from someone who's done it.
The withdrawal symptoms of not smoking last up to 2 weeks. I think it's less than that. I think it's like 7 to 11 days. The discomfort caused by wanting a cigarette is the same discomfort as being a little bit hungry. You're a little bit annoyed. Even when you're going through it, it's not that bad.
And it got me thinking, is it possible that just by telling ourselves that something like doom scrolling is so addictive because you have all these smartest engineers and we're the victim of what they're creating, it might be a convenient excuse for us to do it more or rationalize our behavior? And just in general, once I have a story in place for why I'm not doing something I should be doing or I'm doing something that I shouldn't be doing, it just becomes a lot more difficult to quit. And now it's just about, how do I rewrite that story? And this is where it gets interesting, because how might we implement this into our own life? Because we all have that one bad habit that we want to quit. There's 2 ways we can go about it. First of all, the easiest might just be looking for that McNugget effect. What's the one thing I need to viscerally realize about this behavior to quit without trying? In other words, how can I just completely ruin this for myself? For example, for nail biting, did you know that more bacteria live under your nails than on a toilet seat? Nice, you're just chewing on toilet seats. For the ladies, did you know that 1 night of sleeping with makeup on ages your skin about 10 days? Or just think about how staying up late ruins your hormone production, testosterone or estrogen if you're a woman, which makes you just immediately less attractive the next day to the opposite sex. Sometimes just understanding the science of it and what really happens can be enough for us to quit. And it can be a simple ChatGPT prompt. For example, I asked ChatGPT about the scariest science on why skipping flossing is bad, and it's very convincing. Once your gums are inflamed, bacteria can enter your bloodstream and travel to your heart, increasing risk of heart attacks and strokes, cross the blood-brain barrier, and may contribute to Alzheimer's disease. It's linked to erectile dysfunction and infertility. You might be swallowing pus without knowing it. Bone loss in your jaw. Think grandma dentures in your 40s. It might increase your risk of certain cancers. I floss every night. One of these flossing pens, game changer. And the second part is that you may still have some underlying excuses that keep you stuck because you perceive a benefit from it. And the key here is just get really clear on what ways you may rationalize that you need this.
There was a part of me, I realized, that didn't want to stop smoking because I knew if I stopped, I wouldn't have something to blame my inefficiency on, or I just wouldn't have something to blame.
Or why you can't quit, or why it's hard to quit, or maybe why you don't want to quit. I found a custom GPT, which is Alan Carr's method counselor, which I've tested and it seems really good. And I'll also make sure to link the book below in case you're interested. Also check out the video on the left, which is similar to this one, or check out our podcast, which is on the right, where we dive deep into topics just like this one.